Alright folks, this is the one we've been waiting for. 5 kilometers with the little Rekon35. This is going to be a good one. I get there, spoiler alert, and I get back, and as you'll see with the batteries, it just about got back. So yeah, let's go. First thing to say really is it was a beautifully calm kind of mid-morning. There is zero wind. If there is any wind, it is so slight, and that's what made me go for this. So earlier in the morning, put some batteries into the little Rekon, took off and got it to 4 kilometers. Got back and was pretty happy with the how the flight went. So I decided to give it a go again. Had some freshly charged, absolutely brand new batteries for this run, and they're an Eve 30p 18650 battery. Got them from fogstar.co.uk. They were on sale for £2.50 per sale, so bought a handful of them, and that's what we're running on this run. Now the interesting thing was, as you would maybe have noticed at the very beginning, the battery voltage for each cell was sitting at 3.98 volts. So for whatever reason, the charger didn't charge them up to their absolute full capacity. I just have one of these little USB-C 18650 chargers that doesn't even tell me what the voltages are. You just kind of put them in, the light goes from blue to white, and when the light goes blue again, they're charged. So I slapped them in and kind of thought, well, we'll get back out to maybe 4 again and turn around. And as you'll see, I get to 4 and I thought, what the hell, I'll just keep going. So on this run, the batteries aren't completely full to the top. So maybe there's a little bit of scope for a little bit more distance. Who knows? But everything kind of this, as this is the second run for the day, I was able to kind of gauge what voltages I was going to be running at, amp draws, throttle settings, that kind of thing. There was a slight breeze in the morning, as you can see from the wind turbine. It is turning. There was a real slight breeze blowing on the screen from right to left, and I did notice, and you'll see I'll have to correct my roll every now and again. The quad slowly but surely kind of rolls to the right, and I just have to kind of tilt it to the left and yaw to just fix it. The goal for these flights were the wind turbines in the far distance. You can just see one there kind of in the center of the screen. That's what the goal was. Didn't want to go excessively high, so I'm literally at this point flying along at about 120 meters, keeping it as low as comfortably could. At this point, 3 kilometers. So from my previous videos that I've uploaded, I've already surpassed the maximum distance, and all things look good. Even though the battery wasn't charged to its absolute maximum, because it's a brand new battery, as I was flying along here, I kind of noticed actually they're not really sagging as much as the previous flight in the morning. And if I just manage the throttle and kind of try and keep it below 50, and you'll see sometimes I go a little bit up to 50, but I'm always trying to keep it kind of 47, 48, absolute minimum, just adjusting my pitch to gain a little bit of altitude or to gain a little bit of extra speed, and just keep going. And I thought if I can just manage the throttle here, the batteries don't seem to be sagging too badly, so maybe I can keep going. And so that's what I did. And just at this point earlier in the morning is where I turned, and here I kind of thought, you know what, 3.37 per, I could probably squeeze a little bit more out. So we keep going, and yeah, that's what we do. The footage that you're watching is from the goggles, from Walksnail goggles. So with the bitrate, images all were quite good, and the signal, I guess you could say, well, you know, Tom, 4 or 5 kilometers with Walksnail should be easy peasy, especially with the antennas I'm using. And yes, you're right. And I'm running at 500 milliwatts as well, which is the maximum the little 1SV3 can output. So here we are, we're approaching kind of our 5 kilometer point. I'm kind of thinking just get there, and get turned around and get back as quickly as I can. You see these wind turbines aren't really turning, although they're both pointing off to the right, so that's the direction that the wind, the slightest of breezes is coming from, but it's not enough to get them to turn. So I'm just kind of egging it on. Come on, get the 5, and you'll see here, as soon as I get the 5, kind of just whip it around. There we go, we'll hit 5, yep, successful. Both the Walksnail and the Betaflight OSD are confirmed 5 kilometers, right, turn around and get back. So the homeward leg is all about, again, battery management. This is the critical kind of leg. Getting out in some ways is easy, it's getting back is the difficult part. So the fight here the whole way back was trying to maintain altitude without having to increase the throttle to gain altitude or speed, which would make the batteries sag. So it's kind of a balance between just feathering the throttle, adjusting the pitch to gain a little bit of altitude, but at the cost of a little bit of speed. And of course you want to get back as quickly as you can, so you're just kind of always fighting against your own instinct. Just keep the throttle low. If you want to go faster, pitch forward, but you're going to reduce your altitude, so then you're going to have to pitch back up again. So it's kind of flying along here and just managing the pitch to keep the altitude where I wanted it to be. Once I kind of got back at certain kind of distances, 3 kilometers, I can kind of let it go a little bit lower. Don't want to go too low too quick, and then you lose your video, and then you have to try and punch out of it, and then your battery sags, and then you fall out of the sky anyway. So that's kind of what's always in my mind at this point. Looking at the battery going, okay, we're getting there. The distance is fairly quickly coming down. We can do this. Point the thing at home. Try not to deviate left and right and kind of snake my way back. I want to try and get back in as straight a line as possible. Keeping the throttle, even taking my hand off the throttle at times, so I don't feel the need to adjust it needlessly, and just pitch, managing the pitch. Once you kind of get to this point, okay, I can let the altitude come down a little bit, so pitch forward ever so slightly more. That will increase my speed, it'll reduce my altitude, it'll reduce the amp draw ever so slightly, and even if it's only for 300 or 400 meters, that's what could be the difference of landing in my hand or landing at the far end of a field. And all of those kind of 300 or 400 meters, every 300 or 400 meters can make all the difference. So yeah, at this point I'm kind of thinking, right, we're getting very close to 3 volts, and that's kind of what my own mental kind of limit was. I know these cells can go lower than 3 volts, but I don't want to go any lower than 3 volts or 6 volts overall, in case the video system shuts down or the flight controller just doesn't like it. So I'm always trying to keep, I want to keep the voltages 6 or 3 volts. Still 2 kilometers out, we're not home yet. I have to cross over a road, there's a handful of buildings. Don't like flying over buildings, but I need to go in a straight line. The quad still wants to kind of slowly roll to the right, so I'm having to fix that too. So there's a few little things going on here that you just have to try and keep calm, think it all through. We're nearly there, the distance is dropping, we'll get there. At this point I can kind of reduce the altitude a little bit more, that'll gain the speed. So yeah, we're getting there. If I manage the throttle just right, the voltage doesn't really sag. I mean, these are brand new cells. They should be rated for about 30 amp constant. I'm pulling less than 10. So the cells should be able to manage this without a problem. And you'll see at the stats screen at the very end that I effectively only used 2,000 or 1,900 odd milliamp hours out of the total of 3,000. So there is a little bit of reserve there, but it's all about kind of managing the battery sag, and that's the thing. There's no point in having 3,000 milliamp hours available if you keep kind of sagging the battery, that becomes useless. So at this point we're within the 1 kilometer range, and you would have just noticed I had to cross over an electrical pylon. It's quite high. It's about 90 meters tall, and it's 1 kilometer out, so I always have to make sure that I'm at least over 90 meters at 1 kilometer. I kind of call that my airfield boundary, and once I'm within a kilometer I can drop the altitude right down, and that's what I'm doing now. From that kilometer range I was able to just feather the throttle again, pitch forward, gain a bit of speed, but slowly reduce my altitude, reducing the amp draw. It's now down kind of 6, 7, 8, and that's what's able to hold the battery voltage around 3 volts. There we go, we're back. And at this point I kind of flick around, go into angle mode, and I normally try and come in backwards in angle mode with my line of sight, with my goggles off, and either land it in my hand or just put it on the ground. That's kind of what I'm attempting to do here. I'm just relieved that the thing's back. There we go, disarm, it's in my hand. As you can see, 1,919 milliamp hours used, max current of 11. So yeah, brilliant, 5 kilometers.